padded room. What could I do? I got myself convinced it's no coincidence that I keep seeing two. Looks like he's losing it, or is he a genius? Well, what if both were true? There's not a medicine I haven't engaged in, a marriage of mutual love views. You wanna say I'm alright today, but clean feels like the wrong word to use when it's not just what, but you abuse. My mind is yours to lose. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da. This is the part where I try not to cry when I sing it high. Raise your white flag where your demons can see it, and welcome the freedom of being defeated. Of being defeated. Yeah.
All right, sweet. Thanks so much, guys. Again, remind me, that first track was called I Was the Victim of a Series of Accents, right?
Yep.
That's sweet. That's a sweet track. Here, let's kind of launch into our first couple questions for you guys. Would you mind telling us a little bit about your backstory? Like, how did In a Daydream come to be what it is today?
Oh, well. I mean, I started writing music in high school under that name with my buddy. And we wrote like an entire album, and then we never like really recorded it professionally or anything. And then I went to college, and I didn't really do anything musically for a while. And then I started getting into bands. And I had a few different other bands that always fell apart. I don't know why. I'm sure I wasn't the common denominator behind all that. But yeah, so I wrote the record that we're kind of playing most of tonight, called This Side of Purgatory.
Sure.
And I wrote that pretty much by myself. And recorded it, but I didn't have a band, but I knew these guys peripherally because they're in bands. So like Jake's in the band called No Fun Club, Poppy's in a band called Boyfrienders, and they're both like the front people of their bands.
Okay.
And then I met Adrian playing in this other band called Pursuer a while back. So we kind of like, I showed all these guys, you know, separately the record that I had made, and they were all into it.
Yeah.
So that last song that we just played was the first one that we kind of all, like I brought the idea, and then everyone kind of wrote their parts to it. So that was like the first like collaborative thing.
So that was the first track of the band in its current form?
Yeah.
That's sweet.
Yep.
Were there any other band names besides In a Daydream?
Oh, wow. Not for this one. No, I was in a band. The first band that I was in that wasn't In a Daydream was called Great Neptune. It was a SpongeBob reference. And I think that's how I met Jake, actually, originally. I think we might have played, I can't remember.
No, you like hit me up
Yeah, I was like, who's this
to
clown?
play a show,
Yeah.
but it never came through.
Oh,
Never
it
happened.
wasn't my fault, but.
Well, let's dive into your sound a little bit. Like, in case there are any folks who are just tuning in, didn't hear the first track there, How would you describe your sound to someone who's never heard it before? Like, what makes you guys in a Daydream?
Well, I think, I don't know, you guys can correct me, but I think my ADHD has a lot to do with it.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of interesting structures. Like, it doesn't always just go like verse, chorus,
Right.
outro. There's like a lot of, I can't write like that because my brain doesn't work that way.
Sure.
So I kind of like, but it's a lot of artistic themes to it too. Like on a record, there's like a lot of like little clips that we tie in. Like I like to have the songs all flow together, so there's like a little bit of art rock to it. So I kind of
Right.
like ADHD art rock.
I hear you.
Yeah, it's hard to like pin it down, I guess.
I got you. Well, speaking of flow, I don't know if you guys want to launch into your next track. I have down Narcissist Off Duty, right?
Yep.
Folks, you're getting the authentic experience tonight. Thanks so much for tuning into The Basement on WDBM East Lansing.
I know that day is everything okay. Well, no one really dreams as a kid, chase the stimulants with pocket flash bourbon. But I just don't know at the time that the demons aren't under your bed. They're in your mind, where there's not only thoughts zooming right now and then. I really wanna redeem and with lead, but that would only be more blood in my hands. You just smiled, took my hand and told me it might not be your day. Don't talk that way. Don't pull the heavyweight. The world breaks us all anyway. Come drive with me. A better night outside waiting for you in my front seat. So take a breath, don't overthink, don't untrust me. I'll play along, but still I feel so wrong. What you deserve is royalty, and I'm a lazy, selfish donkey. Something isn't right, something isn't right, something isn't right, something isn't right, something isn't right. I can't even look you in the eye, 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 look you in the took my hand again and said, my love, you are more than enough. Stop asking drive. You pick the music. Don't forget we're not dead. Yeah. It's still dead. It's not the end.
Thank you guys. That was just called Narcissist Off Duty. So you all put out an album in December of 2021 called This Side of Purgatory, which featured a cover art of a building with the quote, "The Bible says, what must I do to be saved?" Can you explain the title?
Yeah. Let me grab this guitar. Yeah. So the record was dedicated. It was inspired by the loss. My best friend passed away when I was 22. We were both 22, and he was an atheist. And I remember being at his funeral at a Catholic church, and it being really weird, and just being really angry. It was on my birthday too. It was like a weird string of coincidences that like that really dark negative feeling being associated with like this lavish like religious backdrop. And so I developed like this really just like an apathy or like a resentment towards religion.
Okay.
So it's kind of like what do I got to do to catch a break from you, God, type of thing. Because like after that, like all the things that I had kind of put myself through in the grieving process,
Sure.
I wasn't doing myself any favors, and it was like going through like a dark time. Like being 22, you don't really know no one teaches you how to cope with something like
Grief,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, what do I have to do to like get myself out of this type of thing?
For sure.
And when I saw that building, it's in Corktown. I was just driving by it one day.
Okay,
First time I saw it, I went and took a photo, and that ended up being the album art. Because I didn't know what the art was going to be, but I saw that, and I was like, dude, that's perfect.
Yeah.
And now I drive by it all the time, so it's like this, it's got like a special like meaning to me.
Of course. Right. And I'm sure that kind of connects through your whole like songwriting and storytelling process, even as an artist. So like breaking down a couple of the tracks on there. I mean, you got one called "Dear God," a farce rewritten as a tragedy. I imagine that's got. I mean, what was going through your mind when you wrote that?
Well, the lyrics are all kind of, they're very kind of melodramatic, I would say. And it was like lyrics like a letter to God, but
Okay.
a farce rewritten as a tragedy I stole from The Corrections by Jonathan Franzen.
Okay.
And
yeah.
there's one of the main characters is writing a play, but he says like it's originally a tragedy, and he rewrites it as a farce. So the line is a tragedy rewritten as a farce. I switched it around because the lyrics are super melodramatic, like super woe is me.
Yeah.
But in reality, like my life wasn't actually that bad. So it's like I'm taking what's actually like a farce, like the reality is just like it's kind of like a joke to feel so down about it, and writing it as a tragedy, like writing it out.
Yeah. Right.
Like we experience things and perceive them to be oftentimes so much worse than they are. And that's kind of like what the title means.
That's super insightful. Yeah, for sure.
And what message would you want people to take away from this album?
Overall, like once you accept that not everything is going to be okay, you can actually find little bits of actual happiness instead of trying to manufacture it through whatever destructive behaviors that people often do, whether it's drugs or whatever. You know what I mean? Like just being an introvert or like all these things that you think that are what you need, but they're just not. You just need to like accept reality, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, that's super insightful. I'm loving that. And let's with that, let's kind of lead into this next track. I got Romantic Egotist.
All alone, collecting notes, 100 Sundays in a row. Yeah, I like it that way. I postponed. Yeah, I planned it that way. I planned it that way. A debutante's nightmare. She saunters down the spiral stairs to find nobody there. No privileged rubberneck stairs. No flutters in his chest. No shackled damsel to distress. No more heart in the way of what his brain wants to say. Take my hand, give it back, trade for a drag of that paper bag. Breathing fast, thinking back on everything I should not have said. Why don't you go on inside? No, don't worry, I'll be fine. Let's keep it light, I just need 5 minutes to convince myself that I'm not dying. Oh no. I think that this is living. Emotions are my currency, and I've been known to overspend, fall head over heels in debt with anyone who lent me a chapter in their story. But every page I tarnish will burn up in sweet catharsis. There has to be a better way than this. Another lonely basement show. Then it's back on the road. God damn, this feels like living. Da da da. Nothing else ever